Hello, my beautiful souls, and welcome. So, I'm picking up on some quite intense energy. I'm actually not too sure if I'll post this. I guess I will, but I've been a little bit hesitant to record a message, so I'll see how this one turns out. I am picking up on some serious rage, feminine rage to be exact, and I mean there's a song that is in my orbit, or has been in my orbit for some time now. Many of you know it. Maybe it's from Paris Paloma, Labor. And if you don't know it, it's basically a song about, like, from a woman's point of view, about a man probably, and about like a toxic relationship, love relationship, where she is feeling like, or it's her experience, that she's doing a lot of work, a lot of labor, and it's obviously not respected. She's speaking about torture, emotional torture, and all of those things. So there's especially like this one line, and that one was in my head. It kept replaying. For somebody I thought was my savior, you sure make me do a whole lot of labor. And that is in the chorus. I mean, the song itself is called Labor. And so, yeah, that was my cue into this. And actually, I was doing my laundry, and I was hanging my laundry earlier. And then this wave of rage came over me. And while I was hanging my clothes, I repeatedly heard this, you sure make me do a whole lot of labor. To be honest, there was also a little bit Tracy Chapman mixed in. A woman's work is never done. I find it quite interesting. It's since my channel started to grow a little bit, I get more and more music references. I mean, it's great. I love music, but I feel like you do too. And it's all kind of music. So that's just a little side note here. Anyways, it also made me think of this painting here from Edgar Degas, who was an impressionist, French one. This particular painting is from 1869, and as you can see, it's a woman ironing. And it's a very interesting painting. I won't go into the art historical details here. If you don't know, I studied art history, so you will always see little bits and pieces about art and all that stuff here on my channel. It's just, what I know and what I love. But anyways, this image, like this painting, came to my mind, and I felt like I want to include it in my reading, or in this tapping in. Like, to be honest, I really don't know where this is going. If there's any takeaway from this, despite the fact, to just like acknowledge the rage, to only say like, yeah, there is this rage, and because I very much felt like I didn't know where to go with that rage, to be honest. And now when I look at her, it's interesting because I feel like her face is actually it's so neutral. Like it's almost numb. Like her face is so, like she's looking at the spectator, at the viewer, but look at her eyes. They're half closed almost, and she is just not interested really. And like you can even see here, I don't know if it's picking up on the camera, I think it does. You can almost see like the movement here, and the whole painting has like a sketching overall vibe, but it's actually a finished painting. And it seems like he intentionally kept the movement in here. I also feel like the tiredness from her shoulders, like this one shoulder is kind of hanging while she's kind of making, I can almost see her like making this movement just mechanically. What I also find interesting is that her face, it is with way more detail than the rest of the painting. Like you have the background is, you can see that it's laundry hanging here. You see like the laundry topic again. There's some laundry, some sheets hanging here, but it's there are no details. Also her blouse is very sketch-like, but her face is standing out to me. This is reminding me of something I said myself along my journey at some point, that I felt like I had lost all my contours, like my outlines, over like the course of my life, and that there's like this one turning point in my journey where I started to wake up to me again. And so to me that felt like becoming like clear again. That my outlines became visible again, more like her head. And it's an ongoing process, and this energy right now is so weird because I kind of feel cut off from inside, really. I'm a little bit like I'm stumbling through this here. I'm trying to follow something, but there's the numbness that I was talking about is very present right now. I don't really feel much. And usually when I'm channeling, especially when I'm tapping into energy, I very much rely on my senses, my sensations, my emotions, but there are just no emotions right now. I remember that when I started talking, or right before I started recording, that I had a hard time breathing. It was kind of heavy on my chest. All right, let's get some cards here. I feel like we need to get some different point of view. So right up front, I see regeneration on the bottom of the deck. Yeah, I feel like this is so weird. I mean, this is not unusual for this regeneration energy. This nothingness. And I'm still not sure if I'm going to post that, to be honest. Maybe it's just something to be left alone. But then there's this rage. Oh yeah, look down here. Look at all this red, like burning energy beneath the earth. It's something hidden. Yeah, okay, now I heard you need to dig deeper. This is nothing that will just make itself known that easily. Like, we have to dig a little deeper. Okay, now I'm starting to feel something. There you go. There's something in my sacral chakra. It's like a tension. Or like a tug, but like an unpleasant one. A little bit like a contraction, maybe. Well, doesn't feel pleasant. Yeah, now it's gone again. It doesn't want to be seen, and I just realized when you look at this tarot deck here, the eye, it's just like it's kind of peeking out, but not completely. So there is something like there are those little spikes of something coming up, like this wave of anger. The songs popping up, like it's something is kind of making itself known, but at the same time it's still hidden. But when you look at that, you see, like, it's everywhere. It's pretty potent, to be honest. Like the energy, like this rage that I felt earlier, that's not... that was some serious energy. All right, let's get some more oracle cards here and see what our guides have to say about that. Okay, like all of them in reverse. So just for you to know, I kind of do read reversals, but not in the like I'm taking it into consideration. We'll see. So we do have yin, we have exchanging gifts, and we have building blocks. So these two are pretty straightforward for me. It's about this, like, the feminine energy that is giving, but not receiving. Like, you sure make me do a whole lot of labor. And I mean, it's not a coincidence that I've been drawn to this picture, which is like a very typical depiction of a woman in the 19th century, which is kind of representative for like all the women that came before us and had to perform all this labor day in, day out. And this is also an angle that Paris Paloma has in her. Sorry, I just looked up the lyrics. In her song, because she's saying like, who tends the orchards, who fixes up the gables, who fetches the water from the Rocky Mountain spring. So she's, and also the music video, she's like, the setting is kind of in this historical context. So she is also talking about the ancestral story in there, like the roots in there, all the unseen labor that was expected, and there is this deep exhaustion, and it's because, like I said, like those cards came out in reverse. So this is speaking to me that there is some kind of blockage in the energy, like, or not blockage in the energy, but it's it's exchanging. It's actually not exchanging gifts. It's like giving, but not really getting something in return. And it's also, there's also a line in the song. It's not an act of love if you make her. So there's also like this element of force in there, of it's not really on a voluntary basis. And there's this thing of, it's not an act of love if you make her, and there's like this topic in there of hoping to get love, a little bit of love for what we do as women, and all the like the torture that is received in return, and even more expectations. And I'm sorry, this is really a heavy energy, and it's so hard to work through, to be honest. I feel like sedated right now. I'm still not sure if I'm going to post that. I'll see. So the last one, building blocks. Okay, so I see like that actually a lot of what our society is and was built on is the labor of women, and it was for a very, very long time, and it still is in many ways unseen, unrecognized, and not valued. And this is also something in this painting, actually, because you could think that Degas painted this picture as a critique, but he actually didn't. It's now, he's not questioning the social status or the position this woman is in. He's studying her. It's like this maybe curiosity, but it's like very neutral. It's just like this very cold way of looking at her, actually. I don't see any compassion in this painting. And if you look at this table where the cloth is on, it's like a barrier between her and the viewer or the painter. So here it is seen what she's doing, the labor, it's observed, but it's not seen for what it is, hardship. There's no compassion here. And it's also not valued or like seen. I mean, yeah, he sees it as interesting enough to create a painting, but it doesn't feel like he's interested in her or what she's doing. He's more interested in like the studying of the object. It feels like that she's like the whole scenery is more like the object, and he's interested in studying the movement and the textures. But yeah, it's interesting because I know the painting very well. It's in one of the museums in my hometown, and I've been there many times, standing there, sitting there, and I always kind of liked it because of the style, but it also, there was something, I couldn't really point my finger at it, what it was, but there was always something feeling weird to me, or cold, or empty. There's this emptiness in there, and I always thought maybe it's because of the colors, because they're like in this grayish white cooler tones. But now the more I look at it and the more I see it in that context, and I'm well aware that this is just like one angle I'm looking at it, and it's just like how the energy is speaking to me right now. But I think it is safe to say that this, and it's also in the text here, I read it earlier, that there is this distance between the person and the painter or the viewer. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of love here. Just not. And when you look at those cards here, they are all in this pinkish color schemes. A lot of heart energy. This one is more in the colors of the painting. So can we get some, I don't know, some advice or something to wrap this whole thing up here? Okay, they're drawing me to the tarot now. So let's see. Ooh, that's so interesting. Okay, one thing why I just said that's so interesting, and I don't know if that, and I want to nerd out too much about art history, I'm sorry, but you see the black cat up here? There is another painting from a French impressionist that I like very much, from Edgar Manet. And he painted a painting called Olympia. And he actually depicted a prostitute. It was a whole scandal. I'm not going to go in there. It hangs in Paris, in the Musée d'Orsay, I think. And actually, another version of this one, I think a sketch or maybe a drawing that came before that painting, is also hanging in the Musée d'Orsay. And in this painting from Manet, with Olympia, there's a black cat, and she's the black cat is very important in that painting, and it was part of the whole scandal that he painted a black cat, because black cats were perceived as they had a very negative connotation, and it made it even more obvious that the subject of the painting was in fact a prostitute, which was just such a huge scandal and affront. And so that was certainly a critique. That was a social critique. He didn't beat around the bush very much. He actually, I think it was because of that painting, he actually had to leave Paris for a year. And I think he lived in Spain because somebody even attacked that painting while it was hanging in the salon. And they had to hang it somewhere really up high so that nobody could reach it. And he had to leave town for quite a while. So yeah, I don't know. This is interesting that all this stuff about French painters and all of that is coming through. I can't really make sense of that. But the black cat is standing out to me, and the symbolism of the black cat as it was for the longest time as a symbolism for witches and just an unwanted creature. And this is so interesting that actually the Nine of Cups is mostly seen as a card of wish fulfillment, although I usually do not read it that way. I see it more of a card of, it is about our wishes, but it also is about all those volatile feelings that are connected to hoping for what we wish for. This can make us so vulnerable, and it can make us so anxious and leaves us worrying. What if I'm not good enough? What if I will never get what I wish for? What if I'm just naive or delusional, or what if this is just not for me or not in my cards or whatever? So for me, the Nine of Cups is actually a little bit of a tricky energy, to be honest. And I feel like the black cat is actually also speaking to that. This feeling of maybe I'm just the black cat and I don't get that. I don't get what others get, or I don't get what I wish for because I don't deserve it. I am this black cat. But what I find interesting is that this black cat, black cats, they just don't give a fuck. They just don't care. They don't care that everybody thinks, not everybody, but I mean cats in general, but there's just something about black cats that is just so sometimes I think maybe when we're done with this human incarnation stuff, we just all come back as cats. Because I just feel like they've figured something out that we still have to learn as humans. So anyways, like this black cat, she is sitting up here like it's her throne. Like, look at all my cups. Look at all the beautiful cups I have. And what I'm drawn to right now is like this red energy in here, and it brings me back to this energy, but it's contained. It's actually behind all those cups. It's somehow, I feel like those cups were not there if like this red energy didn't exist or haven't come before it, because it's behind the cups. It's something that has come before it. It was necessary in order for all of those cups to emerge. And it's safely contained, but at the same time, the cat knows that this is actually her secret. And I'm not... Okay, so don't get me wrong. Rage is I don't want to say I love rage, but like I had a very long journey with my rage and learning to actually appreciate my rage. And it's not always easy, but I've learned to really appreciate it. And it can be, for one, it's very healthy to have a good relationship with your rage or your anger. It's very, very unhealthy to suppress it or just vent, just let it out uncontrolled. But that's not what's happening here. It is contained. It's safely contained. And what you see now is that, like, in the outside world, there is this, again, this pink color, which is, again, speaking to the heart energy. Yeah, so actually, like, this time, this Nine of Cups has a very... there is some kind of confidence in there. I mean, look at that cat. She's just so... Well, I heard full of herself. No, like, yeah, that might be what others might think of her, as maybe a fear that someone might have. Certainly not the black cat. She doesn't worry about that stuff. But one might have the fear that others might view them as full of herself. Yeah, but like I said, she just doesn't give anything of what other people think or other cats think. She's just sitting up there enjoying the view. All right. I don't know. I have a hard time parting from this card. I like this energy. And to be honest, I'm just like coming out of this sleepy, like almost sleepwalking energy. The more I connect with this card, the more energized I feel. So I feel like this is where this is moving. But we still have the Hanged Man and the Hermit. And I feel like because the Hanged Man came out in reverse, and I feel like to turn it over again. Okay, I heard balancing act. Yeah, like this whole thing, it can sometimes feel like a huge balancing act. And it's like, you know, this, when you turn it on its head, this card, this is something that just is impossible. But that is what's actually in many ways expected of women to do the impossible. Like, they have to be everything. Coming back to the lyrics of the song, she's singing all day, every day, therapist, mother, maid, nymph, then a virgin, nurse, then a servant. So there's this thing in there about like, you have to be everything. You just have to be everything, do everything, and always look great while doing it. Not breaking a sweat, looking attractive, looking happy, not complaining. And yeah, those two pillars here. And I know this is not what the card is actually about, but this is just how it's speaking to me right now. Those two pillars, they're actually speaking to me about the double standards. Yeah, so like this is a huge part of the rage. And like to come back to the Hanged Man energy is very much about, okay, this is not a pleasant energy to connect with, and it's maybe also not easy to look at that, because we might, I mean, this is very often challenging our relationships, right? Maybe also the relationship to our parents or our partners, spouses, people we love. This can be quite challenging. But it's important to actually really look at that and to recognize the unfairness, recognize all the expectations that are piled up on us. And when I say us, I mean women. And this is one of the rare occasions where I actually really speak about women as the gender, because this is what is really like relating to the experience as being raised and living as a female person in society. So now I'm back in this really like, this is not, it's a slow moving energy. It's sticky somehow. It's stuffy. It feels very, very stuffy and tenacious. I'm gonna cut so much in this video because there are like those long pauses in between. Because I feel like I'm talking in slow motion. I'm sorry. So yeah, let's go to the last card. The Hermit. Really just looking inside, going inside, bringing light to those places with the lantern here. What is, I find this Hermit, sorry, I've been holding the card weird. I find the Hermit in this deck very interesting because it's so different with the coat that he's wearing here, like all the flowers. It's kind of a cheerful hermit. Usually he's depicted as this very serious person. Often you don't even really see the face, and it's like rather muted colors, but here it's like this cheerful, colorful clothing. And this is speaking to me about yeah, it's like an antidote to this heavy energy, to this, like I said, stuffy, tenacious, yeah, it just feels so, like I said, like slow motion, and it's really hard to work through. But yeah, this easier energy can kind of help us. And I also feel like this rage actually can help us to break it open. And maybe not to be too serious with our rage. I mean, this is a weird thing to say, but I talked about it in another video the other day, where I told, like in the end, I told the story how I was, like I felt a lot of rage, and then I had I did a core workout and put on some techno music and just like went with it, and it somehow felt really good. And I'm absolutely not the person who gets excited about core workouts, I can assure you that. So like, yeah, I don't know, maybe you can find fun ways to channel your rage. There are those, I always wanted to try that. I actually, there's nothing like that around here, but at some point I want to try it. Those rooms where you can just go and break stuff. That sounds like a lot of fun. I don't know, I see something about axe throwing. Maybe that's something you could do. Kickboxing. Yeah. So, okay, I'm gonna leave that here. I think that's it. This is long enough as it is. Yeah. This is some energy. I guess I'm gonna post it. Probably I will. I hope this served in some way, and it maybe shakes a little bit of that energy loose. I don't know. Well, anyways, I wish you all the best with that. I would love to hear from you in the comments if it resonates, if you've been feeling it too, if yeah, whatever you have to share. I'd love to hear from you, and yeah, I wish you all the best and looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, take care.